Now, hedge fund manager Bill Ackman made the trade of a lifetime when he bet on a default by bond insurer MBIA. His wager set off a bitter feud with the company, one Ackman eventually won, making billions of dollars for his investors. But the fueling debate over credit default swaps ensued as well. Bloomberg's Christine Richard details this drama in her upcoming book. You can see it there, Confidence Game, How a Hedge Fund Manager Called Wall Street's Bluff. Now, it's due out in May, but Christine is here with us this morning to talk to us a little bit about what it was like writing the book. I mean, Ackman is somebody that everyone on Wall Street is interested in. You read all his emails, all these exchanges. What can you tell us about him that we don't know?
Well, in writing the book, I was sensitive to the fact that I would be presenting a short seller's view of a company. So it was incredibly helpful to have access to all these emails so that I didn't quote him after the fact. I could quote him and people who knew him at the time this was all going on. And one of the things that struck me was just his persistent optimism. I mean, you might imagine... That he was right, you mean? That he was right, and that you would almost tend to think of him as a sort of a darker person who's looking at this company.
Yeah, because he's known as a contrarian.
Right, imagining this company, which everyone else on Wall Street is counting on, is going to blow up one day. But
so he had conviction. He
had conviction and was just very convinced. He would go to the rating agencies. He would go to the New York State Insurance Department. You know, he cornered the head of MBIA's auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, at a charity function. He just never gave up pushing with people this idea that this company and eventually this bond insurance industry was a disaster.
And not surprisingly, there's a lot of bad blood between Ackman and MBIA, right? I mean, you detail a little bit, at least in an article that you have on Bloomberg here, about Brown and just kind of this tense meeting and how some of Ackman's cronies told him, look, you know, if you're going to take a meeting, it has to be Japanese style, just shut up and listen. Give us a little bit more detail about the tension between the two men.
Well, that meeting does kick off what's probably a 6-7 year battle between Bill Ackman and the company, and in particular Jay Brown. He releases this report questioning, is MBIA AAA? And at the time, MBIA was AAA rated and had put its AAA rating on about $500 billion worth of debt. So it was a very touchy question. And he was almost immediately investigated by the SEC, by Eliot Spitzer's office. A few years later, he turns the tables. He has the company investigated. And eventually, you know, as the credit crisis picks up steam, the bond insurers are really one of the first
this is an important part
casualties.
Of it, a huge part of the story. Yeah. Do you think Ackman thinks the CDS market should be regulated like insurance? Is that the takeaway that you got in doing all the research?
I'm not sure what he would say about it being regulated, but I think he would say that for people to be able to take these short positions on companies is important because it motivates them to do the kind of research that really nobody else is going to do. I mean, nobody on Wall Street had any interest in seeing bond insurance presented as anything but kind of a, you know, the Midas touch, the way to put a AAA rated rating on any bond you wanted.
All right. Well, we congratulate you on your book. Can't wait to read it. Thanks for coming in to talk about it. Bloomberg's Christine Richard.